Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. I hope that you are all good. Now today's video is a little bit different. Rather than doing a nail design, I'm going to be showing you guys how I prep my practice hand, apply my tips and a thin clear acrylic base, as it was requested by one of my subscribers. So I hope you see this and I really hope it helps. First up, the silicone hand that I use is from Glamerliz, and this is the Elsa Painted version. I will leave a link to the Glamerliz website in the description box below, as well as a 10% discount code I have. So do check out the description box if you're looking for any of the products I use. Now to begin with, I've got my hand on its clamp and I'm just using a nail brush and some alcohol spray to give it a bit of a clean and remove any dust that might have been there from the previous set of nails that I did. And I'm then going to take these full cover press on nail tips. These are in a ballerina shape. I think I picked these up from either AliExpress or eBay. I'll have a look for a link and pop one below if I can find one. And what I simply do is I put them in upside down. So they have these openings on the Glamerliz hand at the cuticle area, and you just slide your tip gently in. You can get longer tips that slide in further on the Glamerliz hand, but because I already had these ones, these are the ones that I've always used since having my Glamerliz. Have them in a couple of different shapes and they all seem to work well as long as you pop them in upside down. And as you can see, they give a nice natural nail base to work on with a tiny free edge for you to apply your tips. I don't do anything else to those base nails. However, you could buff them to remove the shine if you were having trouble getting your tips to stick. So moving on to applying the tips, I'm using the Perfect Nail Tips from Wowbao and this brush on nail glue from Amazon. And I'm simply going to apply these tips to the very free edge of those base nails that we've pushed in. And I'm going to apply them exactly the same as if I was applying them on myself. So I'm going to take a really small amount of the brush on nail glue and apply it just along where the nail is going to meet the free edge. So just that contact area of the nail. I'm starting in the center and brushing it out towards the wings. You really only need a little bit of glue because then it's going to dry a hell of a lot quicker than if you apply a lot of glue. And then I'm simply just going to press that nail tip down onto the base nail, giving it a little wriggle until I can feel that it's starting to set. And then I'm just coming in and pushing the wings of the nail tip down just to make sure that that's firmly glued on. Now these tips are really easy to apply. They don't have too much of a C curve, so they work very well on the press-on nails that I've used as the base tips because they're quite flat. They don't have too much of a C curve to them either, so they just work really well in combination together. And when I'm applying my nail tip, I'm applying it to that very free edge because again, that's how I would apply it on my natural nail. You don't want your extension, your nail tip extension, sorry, to come too far down onto your natural nail plate. So I'm just going to pop these on all of the nails, trying to get them sized up as evenly as possible so the nails look consistent throughout the set. And you can also sculpt on the silicone hands as well. So if you prefer sculpting to tips, then when I'm sculpting on the hands, what I usually do is apply those press-on base nails exactly the same as I did here. And then I wrap some sellotape around the finger just below where that natural nail is. And then I apply my sculpting form exactly the same as I would on myself. You will find the sculpting forms tend to not stick very well to the silicone, so just wrapping that bit of sellotape around the finger gives your sculpting form something to stick onto. As you can see, we've got all 4 tips applied now, so I'm just going to come in and tailor them a little bit more to fit. If I was doing tips on myself, I would usually file them a little bit if they're a little bit too big before applying them, because as you probably know, sometimes you might find your nail is in between tip sizes just ever so slightly usually, so it's always better to apply the slightly bigger size. So that's what I've done on this particular nail here, and it's just ever so slightly too big, so I'm just filing it to remove that excess, and then I'm just filing that tip to blend it into the base nail a little bit more, just so that there's not a ridge where the tip meets the natural nail bed area. Again, exactly the same if I was applying tips on myself. Now if I was doing this on myself, I would only use the 180 grit side of the nail file, but for quickness when I'm doing it on my practice hand, sometimes I will also use the 100 grit side, just because obviously there's no natural nail here to worry about damaging. You don't need to file it loads to blend it in, it's just to make sure that again it's nice and smooth and there's not this huge ridge. And then I'm going to make sure to clean away all of the dust. So I did that on all 4 nails, and now we have those tips blended in, ready to come in and apply our clear acrylic base. So I'm using CJP crystal glass. I'm just going to pick up a small bead of acrylic and place this down on the natural nail. Now I'm placing it quite far back. I don't tend to take my clear base right up to the cuticle area on my Glamerliz, because I find that the cuticle can end up looking a little bit bulky. You've got that thick base nail there already, and then you're going to pop your clear base down and then your design work. So it can end up with a little bit of a bulky cuticle area on the practice hand. So I tend to just ever so slightly blend it into the natural nail. The main reason I like to do a clear base on the practice hand is again just to make sure there's a really even layer between that base nail and the nail tip. On myself, I do my clear base, so I always have a clear layer to file back to if I'm doing a redesign, and also because that clear base protects your natural nail from any staining of highly pigmented colours, and also because clear acrylic has really good adhesion. So if you struggle with lifting or anything, popping down a clear base can really help. But on the practice hand, I'm simply doing it just so that there's a smooth layer for me to do my design on top of. Now, you don't have to do this step, to be honest. You could skip it and come straight in with doing your design. It's kind of just the habit that I've personally got into. And because these nails were quite long, I've just come in with another small bead of acrylic to finish off the free edge. So once again, I'm going to show you it again on one more nail. So I'm going to pick up quite a small bead of acrylic, and I'm working with small beads just because I want this to be a really thin layer. I'm pressing that down and bringing in the sides of it, blending it into that natural nail area. And then I'm just going to leave the bulk of it there because that's where that join is between the tip and the base nail. And even though we've blended it in a little bit, I just find on these particular tips, it really helps having that bit of acrylic there as well. It just creates a really smooth surface to work on top of. Just feathering that acrylic down towards the free edge, and again I'm going to come in with another small bead and do exactly the same. So I'm just blending it back into that previous bead of acrylic and then lightly pulling it down towards the tip of the nail. And that's my Glamerliz ready to do a design on. So I really hope you all found this video helpful. If you have any questions, pop them in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching, and I shall see you all again soon in the next video where I will be doing a design on this set of nails. Once again, thanks a lot for watching. I hope you're all keeping safe and well. Take care, lots of love. Bye bye.